Likai Namkiteng. Today we are launching Africa Month, and let's please settle down because we're just about to start the program. Once again, good morning, everyone. My name is Zimasa Velapi. I am the head of communication and marketing from the Department of Sports, Art and Culture in Pretoria. It is with great pleasure that I stand before you today. Sizo launch Africa Month that really talks to Ubuntu Betu. And we must also, it reminds us that as South Africa, we are part of the bigger Africa world, the continent that has 54 countries in it. So we are not in isolation. And today, we are here to remind ourselves and the people that are watching us from somewhere else that Africa Month is very important in us reflecting in terms of who we are as Africans, who we are as South Africans, and what it is that makes a person an African. Without taking too much time, the program was supposed to start at 10. We're a little bit behind. I'm going to call for us to stand up, and we can now sing the national anthem as well as the AU anthem. Can we please stand up?
Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life. Let us all unite and sing together to uphold the bonds that frame our destiny, our destiny. Let us dedicate ourselves to fight together for lasting peace and justice, honor. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life. Let us all unite and join together to give the best we have to Africa, the cradle of mankind and fount of culture, our pride and hope at break of dawn. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky,
sit down. And once the anthems are played and sung, we know that we are in business. My job is really a very easy one. All I do is to call people to come and speak. Me, I'm just the usher or the marshal to make sure that people don't fall when they come up the stairs. But before we go any further, I would like to recognize our excellencies from our different embassies. We've got our ambassador from Cameroon. If you could stand and just wave to us. We've got the ambassador from Colombia. If you could do the same. We've got the ambassador from Kenya. And we've got the ambassador from Cote d'Ivoire. Thank you very much for your presence and gracing this event. It means a lot to us, and it also tells that as African countries, we are really one and we are united. So please, even next year when we call upon you, don't disappoint us because you've never done that before. Thank you very much. The next item is the welcoming. I'm going to call upon the Executive Mayor, Councillor Gregory Ntantisi, to come and help and welcome us. According to our culture, as we all know, that when somebody comes to your house, there is someone that is dedicated to make sure that they tell them to take off their jackets and feel at home. I'm waiting for the Executive Mayor, Councillor Gregory Ntantisi, to come and welcome and do opening remarks for us. Okay. This is the nice thing when you are the program director, you get people talking to your ear. Now we are changing. Can we have a group that is going to give us an item? I'm being told that the mayor is still on his way. Can we then have a group quickly that is going to give us an item whilst we're trying to ascertain how far it is and then continue the program? Babetheleni izandla mhlambi basoyika, so that we encourage them to come through. Oh, I can start singing if you don't mind. Because this is a church where we are today, and it has history in South Africa, and it's a Methodist church, and ke mewa thapelo ko Methodist church, ki second steward ko Methodist church. So dingamcula ubulelani in the meantime. Bolelani kuyeva kuba elungile kuba ubu bele bakabu baba pakade. I'm expecting people to help me. Dambe meza kuyeva dandisengwini wandinceda wandibeka endaweni ebanzi ukuphepha ukuphepha uyehova kuko oku, kuko oku, lungileyo, kungathenjwa bantu. The group is here.
Two.
Re a leboha to the Tsipinoto group that has just entertained us. Wherever I see the Tswanas dance, I think they dance better than us. Their dance has got some step in it, and it got this excitement in it. Ingathi bayataka-taka, you know, I love it. So let's give the Tsipinoto group one more round of applause. And before we get the person that is going to welcome us, the brass band is just going to go via and going out, and they are going to do an item, and then as they are leaving. The brass band, please. The brass band. Let's settle down, please. The brass band. We don't have much time. Thank you very much. Give them a big round of applause. And thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And I thought I was going to see us standing up because as Africans, whenever we hear music, you can't keep still. You do something, whether you tap your feet or you stand up and do it. The brass band, as you leave, please just play one thing and then we go on with our program. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can we have Ward Councillor Qondile Peter as the band is moving out? He's going to be the one to welcome us and give us the opening remarks. Ward Councillor Qondile Peter, can you make your way up to the stage?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Molweni, Sanibonani, Dumela. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Qondile Peter. I'm the ward councillor here in Mangaung, specifically in Ward 19. In absentia of the executive mayor, I'm here to welcome you. In actual fact, my role is very simple. It is to welcome all of you in this metro municipality of us, which is Mangaung. We wish to welcome all our African brothers and sisters present here in this august occasion. We are here at Waaihoek, which holds a special place in our country. For it was a place where our oldest liberation movement was formed. I think amongst yourselves, you know very well when we speak about the oldest liberation movement, who are we referring to? This place holds a significant place of African politics. It is much more significant that this year, South Africa is celebrating 30 years of democracy. For those that knows the history of this country, will definitely understand when we say we are celebrating 30 years of democracy, what are we talking about? In a nutshell, we are also including our culture, our heritage, and etc., and etc. To the Department of Sports, thank you for bringing this event to our city, Bloemfontein. We know you cherish this place because we normally call it the hub or the center of South Africa because it's situated in the middle. In most cases, everybody who goes in and out of South Africa has to pass by Bloemfontein. I therefore wish you all the best for today's program, and I'm proud to say asante sana, thank you, ngiyabonga, siyabulela, enkosi.
Thank you very much, Councillor Peter. Mosi, we all know that English will say you have a plan A, and you don't have a plan A, you must have a plan B. But what I like about us, as black people, we don't talk about a plan B. Sithetha ngokwenza iplan. Umeya was plan, and niyayazi mos. There's that Mapiano song that's been creating waves across the world. Eti plan. So, and then ama Africans ati, nama Afrikaner ati, abur maka plan. So thank you very much, Councillor Qondile, for being our plan. Siyabulela. Ladies and gentlemen, in our midst, we also have Dr. Angela Martins, and she's the Director for Social Development and Culture in the African Union and the African Union Commission. Dr. Angela Martins, if you can stand up and just wave. As a department, we always go to people outside of the department because us as employees of the department, sometimes when we're working on a program, we get to be involved in that program, and as a result, sometimes we don't see other ideas or other things. So what the department has done, it wanted to then incorporate people that could remind us of our blind spots at any given time, especially on the Africa Month. So we've got the reference group members that are part of us. If the reference group members could just stand up and wave to the audience. And these are the people that are giving us their expertise, and they're always reminding us in terms of the things that we might have missed as a department. I think because I've already given you entertainment, and because of time, I'm not going to give you this cultural item, ebe sizawuba nayo, but sizamuvela ezanzanyana kancinci. I hope you don't mind, Miss Ipupeng Bomme. You will still come, but I just want to catch up time. We are going to call for messages of support. Of course, I will dip into culture zethu every now and again. When you go phaya ezilalini in the rural areas, when you are going to have an event, for example, if you are Xhosa and your son is 18 years old or older and is going to go to the mountain ayokoluka, you just don't go and take your son to the mountain and the village only sees now that there's busy. You're going to have what is called ibunga. You go komkhulu, you go to the chief and you call for a meeting of the people in the village, because you need to tell them that in December, you call them in May and say, in December, my son is going to the mountain, so that they can then support you. So NAT as a department, that's what we've done. We went out to the village and to the chief's house and we said, in May, we are going to have a program. And as a result, we then had people that are coming to give us messages of support. Can I call Professor Sipho Mantula, who's a representative of the Social Cohesion Advocates? That is a program of the department. Remember, the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, one of its mandate is the social cohesion and nation building. So we also, even there, went outside for people to then run and implement the social cohesion and nation building program. Let's give a round of applause for Professor Mantula.
Nyabonga mamatya lebuga. Dumelang, sanibonani, molweni, Jambo Africa. Greetings, sons and daughters of the soil, our elders, our senior citizens. We have a message from the Social Cohesion Advocates Program to remind you that in 1963, Mama Africa Zenzile Miriam Makeba was part of the Africa Day in 1963. We want to remind you also that in 1994, on the 23rd of May, the founding president Nelson Mandela and the then Minister of Foreign Affairs, Alfred Bapethu Polo Nzo, they were in Tunisia to push for the membership of South Africa to the OAU. Very important that Nelson Mandela said that if freedom was the crown which the fighters of liberation sought to place on the head of Mother Africa, let the upliftment, the happiness, and the comfort of her children be the jewel of the crown. Very important, as you know, that better Africa, better world will not leave better South Africa. Go botlhokwa, kubalulekile that South Africa for the past 10 years has been commemorating Africa Month as Better South Africa, Better Africa, and Better World. We have never excluded ourselves from Africa because our liberation was brought by the African countries that supported us since 1960 until now. The Social Cohesion Advocates reminded me that as we are celebrating 30 years, we should also be mindful that it's also 10 years of celebrating the people living with albinism. Let us also stand strong to stop the killing of people living with disability, including people of albinism community. They have reminded me also to say, as we are pushing for cultural unity, cultural solidarity, let us invest on cultural infrastructure, education, platforms for African artists to thrive locally and globally, and mostly to find African problems to African solutions. I'm also reminding you that 28 years ago, a day of tomorrow, the 8th of May, the former President Thabo Mbeki stand before Parliament and said that I am an African. I am born of the people of the continent of Africa. The pain of the conflicts that the people of DRC Congo, Somalia, North Sudan and South Sudan, Sahel region is a pain also that we do bear in this time. So it is important, as you know, that as we are giving this message of support finally, I will say, which will also bring back the AU theme for 2024, which talks about educate an African fit for the 21st century, building resilient education system. Like I see the young people here from schools, always know your African history, know your African culture, and never look at South Africanness only. Look at Africanness, look at one Africa, one nation. As former president of Zambia used to say, one Zambia, one nation. But the African Union has been talking about one Africa, one nation, Africa without borders. As I'm now concluding, Chair, we'd like to encourage the 7th democratic administration that comes after May 29 to integrate cultural diplomacy, social cohesion, and continental nation building within the SADC region first. Secondly, within the entire continent. And lastly, in the African diaspora as the 6th region of the African Union. So it is important, as we are celebrating Africa Month, we know that countries like Jamaica, Barbados, Haiti, they are part of the African Union. They celebrate Africa Month. Ke a leboga, asante sana, re no leboga.
Baya danki, Prof. Bantwana bam besikolo, you heard, ne, that theme ya next year is about education. And Tina, we've been educated already through the ropes of that. It is your responsibility to come to this department next year and remind us and say, the theme for Africa Month and AU next year is about education. What are you doing about that? So, namhlanje, you go and tell others that there's this teenager, ekuthiwa Africa Month, and it Africa Month ina-10 ngoku celebrate, and it's a teenager, mosne. And niyazazi mos as teenagers, you are cheeky, you are feisty, you are everything. And the Africa Month of this year is going to be exactly that. It's going to be cheeky, it's going to be feisty, because it's just 10-10. I'm going to call the representative of the reference group, Dr. Shadrach Mugaba. Doctor, ne? What does that say to you guys? Hlalane esikolweni. So that nani one day you could be called an ambassador of South Africa in Cameroon. And that's where we are going. Dr. Mugaba.
Thank you, Program Director, Ms. Velapi. Acting Director General at the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, Dr. Stella Ntombifuthi Kumalo. Ms. Angela Martins, who is the Director for Social Development, Culture and Sport at the African Union. The HOD for Sport, Arts and Culture and Recreation here in the Free State Province. All the officials and colleagues from the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, esteemed delegates, distinguished diplomats, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, and my colleagues from the reference group, greetings. I am Shadrach Bokaba, and I represent, as they mentioned earlier, the reference group that is responsible as part of the collective for the Africa Month program. We meet here today on what must surely be described as one of the most significant historical sites in the history of black protest politics, the site where the South African Native National Congress was formed in 1912, in the aftermath of the foundation of the Union of South Africa, and long before the passage, not long before the passage of the Native Land Act, and thus making the South African Native Congress the first liberation movement on the African continent, as they mentioned earlier. It was here that our national anthem, Nkosi Sikelel' iAfrika, was performed to close that gathering of 1912. And by 1925, the national anthem had
became a song that closed all the political gatherings of the African National Congress since that time in 1929. It is therefore a privilege for me to be standing here on behalf of the reference group and on the occasion of the launch of the 10th edition of the Africa Month program, which also coincides with the 30th anniversary of democracy. This edition calls for us to reflect not only on the achievements and challenges in our 30 years of democracy, but we should take stock and go as far back to that historical gathering of 1912 to revisit that vision that our forefathers had as we plot how to move forward in our quest to promote the African agenda and bring into life the AU Agenda 2063 and the Charter for the African Cultural Renaissance. And so, on behalf of the reference group, I invite you to support and participate in the planned Africa Month activities that will take place around the country. These activities seek to build a better Africa and to celebrate 30 years of democracy, partnership, and growth. Ke a leboha.
Enkosi kakhulu, Dr. Mokaba, siyabulela. Before I call the next speaker to come and give us a message of support, I just want to draw your attention to the flags. You see how beautiful they are. They are so colorful. And I think if ubone ujonga omama, i-attire yabo is so colorful. And I think that's what makes us Africans. We are not dull people. We are not brownish people. We must have color. And when you have color, then you have this confidence. And I'm looking at those flags and I'm saying, I think that is what makes us African. That's the question we must ask ourselves. What is an African? What makes us African? And I'm looking at those colors and the colorful outfits that I see here, and I'm thinking, that's us. That's vibey. That's confident. That's happy. Dr. Angela Martin, please do come and give us a message of support.
Thank you, Madam Program Director. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me to stand on already established protocols. It is an honor for me to address you today on behalf of the African Union Commission on the occasion of the launch of the 10th edition of the Africa Month Celebration 2024. I bring you greetings from the AU leadership, from the Commissioner for Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development, Madam Minata Samati Sisuma. Permit me at the onset to congratulate the Republic of South Africa for the celebration of the 30 years of democracy and freedom. This milestone anniversary is an opportunity to reflect on the achievements of South Africa since 1994. The African Union member states have been part and parcel of these 30 years of South African democracy and development, and one of the continental programs which have assisted in social cohesion and integration of the continent is the Africa Month program. As such, we would like to congratulate the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture for this important and very sound initiative and for being consistent in organizing it since its inception in 2014. Arts, culture, and heritage continues to play a significant role in dictating the fabrics of our societies as a major catalyst for political, socio-economic development in Africa. And this is very evident Africa's rich and diverse heritage is an essential asset to profile the continent in the global arena and to bring about equality, sustainable development, integration, and peace in Africa. As you might be aware, the African Union's theme for the year 2021 was Arts, Culture, and Heritage, Levers for Building the Africa We Want. The Organization of Africa Month program is in line with the implementation of the AU Arts, Culture, and Heritage program. It was adopted, the Africa Month program, by the AU policy organs at the African Union in 2018. And it is also in line with the AU theme of the year for Arts, Culture, and Heritage. The African Union 2021 theme was inspired by Aspiration 5 of the African Union Agenda 2063, which envisaged an Africa with a strong cultural identity, common heritage, shared values and ethics, where women play an important role and in which the young people and traditional religious leaders are recognized as drivers of change to foster development and the spirit of Pan-Africanism. There's no doubt that to attain Aspiration 5 of the AU Agenda 2063, we need to establish synergies and partnerships on the continent and beyond, and the collaboration with the AU member states is helping us achieving this. The critical nature of Aspiration 5 is enhanced and strengthened by Moonshot 5. Africa cultural values are explicit and promoted of the just approved second 10-year implementation plan of the AU Agenda 2063. Africa Month has over the years been able to assist in raising the profile of arts, culture, and heritage sector on the continent and to promote key policy instruments and programs of the African Union, including the Great Museum of Africa, which is a flagship project of the AU Agenda 2063, whose temporary office was launched in Algiers in June 2023, and which will showcase Africa's rich heritage to the continent and to the world at large. The Great Museum of Africa will also serve as a hub for restituted heritage which was looted from the continent. The African Union Plan of Action on Cultural and Creative Industries, which basically focuses on the following: legislative and cultural and creative industries policy instruments, markets for our cultural and creative industries, education, capacity building and sustainability, finance and investment, and intellectual property rights. The Africa Month project gives expression to issues of arts, culture, and heritage and provides a platform for reflection and strengthening of synergies and collaboration between AU member states and Pan-African cultural institutions. As I conclude, allow me to once again express gratitude to the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture for spearheading this important initiative for a better united continent and a better world. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Martins. We really appreciate that. I went down on purpose because I wanted to come up the stairs so that my bells can ring. And I'm hoping that someone is going to ask me, why do I have bells on my bailam? So that I can tell you the story. Can we then have, remember, Sibene cultural item that we deferred, can we have Ipupeng to come through and give us an item? Ipupeng, are you ready? Abome.
Ebadi mutung hae.
don't know. Andazi ma kanjani. Oh, did I mention dignity when I was talking about what makes us African people stand out? Nibabonile mama? Isidima sabo. But I can tell that some of you will not be able to be on your knees and then stand up kakuhle. You'll be going like, I know I can't. Please, masibetheleni izandla oh mama for giving us a sterling performance. Bantwana bam besikolo, I'm giving you tricks now. When I was at school, and I'm giving away my age. When we're at school in class and the teacher was teaching, and standing in front of you, and a friend of yours wanted to say something to you and you can't talk in class because nizawubethwa. They used to give you, they write on piece of papers, and then the paper will go. And you know what we used to call as our ela paper? Sasilbiza isibhilivana. Kuthiwa ubani ufumene isibhilivana. Mhlambi from a boy at the back. So I'm lucky today. I'm being reminded because I'm getting his bilivana again, not from the boy at the back. Unfortunately. Can we now call the head of department of the Provincial Department of Sport, Arts, Culture and Recreation, Mr. Mulato Chabalala? Can we... Simkhibel.
Dikgomo le manamana tsona. Thank you very much, Program Director. Ha ke lebohe. Ne ke ipolelletse hore ke tla bua fela ka Sesotho. Mara jwale ke a utlwa ke na le baeti ba bang be le reng le bona ba tla thabela ho amoheleha hantle. As a department, we are really, we appreciate DG, the acting DG, for choosing the Free State and choosing specifically the Wesleyan Church, which is the home of the African National Congress, the oldest liberation movement in Africa. And by coming and launch the Africa Day here means a lot to the people of the Free State. So re itumetse haholo ke se lo re sentse re le tswelelle pele le rona re tla ba mane ha e launchu ai ka celebrate wa ka di 25 sa May re tla etsa re fihle le rona re tlo celebrate ang kaofela empa se seholo and le molaetsa lo re tlamele re ontse gore we must always be proud of being Africans. Re tswantse re be motlotlo ka se re leng sona re tlamele re kgabe ka botjhaba ba rona. We have ambassadors here amongst ourselves. They were introduced whilst I was not here, but I also want to really say you are welcome in the Free State and we really appreciate that you came here. We are also lobbying to say, as we celebrate January 8th, I'm sure the significance of this place is that on the 8th of January 1912, the African National Congress was formed here in this church. And that is why we are also making a call to say we want to ensure that when this January 8th is celebrated here in Free State, because we're saying it doesn't make sense to go and celebrate it in Gauteng. This is supposed to be the pilgrimage where we all come and take our strength from our forefathers here. So we will really appreciate that. That is one thing Eloring we are trying to push. But in short, we are welcomed here. I know that the welcome has been done. But my remarks is just to say we really appreciate that that the department is coming. The National Department of Sports is here. And, you know, in collaboration with the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, we really appreciate, and we believe that this is the beginning of the good things to come. Because we would like to ensure that this Wesleyan church, it does not just become, just something that is standing there, but our people use it. It is utilized also to ensure that, it brings us back to our origins, or re dule re le motlotlo jwalo ka ma-Afrika. Ka mantswe a makgutshwane, ke a leboha. Pula.
Ria Leboa, HOD, thank you very much. It is Africa Month, isn't it? And we are launching it. And Ndifumene is Believana. And this Believana says, I must pull a cat out of my sleeve, or a hat. So I've done that. Now, surprise, surprise, we're going to have a dance group from Uganda to perform for us. Let's give them a round of applause.
Uganda. Hey, and by the names, Best Harriet, Ugandan artist. Thank you so much.
Obuganda wakulu janjamalirwa netabaza mpima nze ntabaza lutamba nawe kwata kyosobola otabalira obuganda bwaffe abalimi enkumbi kubega abasuubuza gali awamu kimanyi obubaka bwa beene lwaki tusuddewo ebyalo ne tubireko okuzika agasatane geririsanga munyiga ne mutunda atedde mubadde kyabange obugagga bwaffe buli ettaka eryo onja obugagga bwaffe alina emmere etazanyirwako munnange etakaddiwadde alina emmere etagondagonda ate talimbwalimbwa alina ettaka tazanyirwako oyo birifuluugi twebaza ow'omutima kugondera abeene ow'enkejje ow'ennakatu ow'entamu enjaliire mwenyango mama wulira mwenyango mama wulira alikupatako buli mwoca olitasangasanga nange guli mwoca wenda tazanyazanya ekirungi kye tayikiriza ayagala okuteesa naye ow'emputu totawaana ayagala munyoma nowembazulwa te totawaana gwe afumula ezo ayogera ebigambo bye bitono naye nga kyategeeza alaba ye masomo gyoyo ate nalaba ensonga ayitibwa salambwa embuga ye tezanyirwamu walala wulira amasanyu omwana wa muteesa walala wulira amasanyu omuzukulu wajwa mwogerako nefuna eddembe muli nembeera ngaalidde essame abasonze tafaali n'olukiiko olw'ettafaali mwe mukama abaddize abanyolo mwebale abatoolo mwebale.
Thank you, Uganda. Thank you. This music just reminded me of my aspirations when I was growing up. I wanted to do this dance. I'm not sure when I remember. Do you know this dance, Eti? This song just reminded me of that. And when I was growing up, I loved that dance. And at least today, I've been able to do it, even if it's just for a minute. My bag of tricks is a little bit foolish. Can we have Ghana? Ghana, quickly. I told you guys that is Africa Month, and we've got countries that are just, they said to us, we are here. Can we entertain the people? Ghana, come through. They are just putting in their LP. I think it's a 45.
Nani nyankopon kwa me abon kwa bo wo within the wo wo nyame mu nyankopon totobo nso bo ade wo ne awurade wo bumpuni twedi ampon yo do mankoma ene nyankopon kwa me asase wura ogumi nyame e no gura yensu kom wo nyame e nya wa ne amen amonso mo we nyame e uto nsuo na bo awia wo cha so nyame e wo no epem ye eja do no epem o da sibre ye papa do no epem o ene nyankopon e wo no epem o ye eja do no epem o da sibre ene nyame o ya die ye awurade wo cha so nyame e wo no epem o Oduma kuma nyame wo sa yeye Obeya mawe didiala no ya na ne nyame beya mawo didiala no ya woni Obeya mawe didiala no ya na ne nyame beya mawo didiala no ya Lesi obeya mawe didiala no ya na ne nyame beya mawo didiala no ya woni Obeya mawe didiala no ya na ne nyame beya mawo didiala no ya na ne nyame beya enti vampire bo enti so ni
Please give them a round of applause. It is heartwarming for us that we have Uganda and Ghana offering to dance for us. I've got one more country, but I'm not going to call them now. So you must wait. It's another African country that has a performance for us. I want you guys to still look at me and hear my voice and sit here and wait for and wonder. It could be me. Dancer. We are here today, just a reminder, to launch Africa Month. And we did say that this baby is now 10 years old. We've seen the baby crawl. We've seen the baby learn to walk. We've seen the baby learn to speak. And now the baby is a teenager. And I've just called on us that when we are doing all the activities for Africa Month, let's make them cheeky, because that's what teenagers are all about. Let's make sure that we give them content and information on the gadgets that the teenagers as well as the little adults like to sit with. When you're talking to your teenager, they're on their phone. It's as if they're not listening to you, and they're watching the TV, and you cannot tell whether it's TV or phone or you. So all the activities of Africa Month must be that cheeky, must be that diverse, must be that, multitasking at any given time, so that they engage us, especially the youth, because as was mentioned here, there's a lot that the youth needs to know and learn about Africa, where we come from, the AU, where it comes from. We've got the Africa Agenda 2063. What does that mean? What are the things that are in that document? Because it does not help us having those documents and you guys are not reading them. Because once you've read those documents, you can then hold government accountable, because those are the things that the AU has committed and said, these are the things that we want to achieve by the time we get to 2063. So I urge you to go and read these documents that are talking about African Union. What is it that African Union says it wants to do for this continent? And what are the things that we can hold them accountable for? Because we know if we don't hold people accountable, some people, when they are left alone, they never do anything because nobody is watching them. And sometimes we need to be those watchdogs, okay? And I've spoken about a teenager. Before I call our acting DG to come and give us the address, I want to say that South Africa is also celebrating 30 years, and that's an adult. I've got kids who are 30 and 30-something, and this adulting thing is very difficult for them. They are working. And now that they are working, they now say, oh, Mama, now I understand when you said, when you got paid today and tomorrow you say, I don't have money. And now this is the child, this is the adult that is South Africa. It's 30 years old and it's adulting. And the adulting years for South Africa are not easy. They're difficult. So there are things that the government has done and there are things that the government is not able to be doing, because remember, we are adulting. And we remember in our own years when we're starting to adult, you start working, you can't make it, you can't put it together. You've got now bonds that you have to pay for, you've got car that you have to pay for, you've got groceries, and above all, we still wanted to party. So you need to have this budget for going out with your friends. So all I'm saying is that South Africa is now an adult, and it's adulting. And we all know that it's not easy, but we are trying. As you guys all know that you are adults and you try on a daily basis. So we've got a teenager, which is Africa Month, and we've got an adult. And these people are working towards the same goal, that is of making a better Africa and a better world. So, Acting DG, Uganda and Ghana. Bebezosinela wena because I could not put you on the spot. Dithi sina. So come and give us a remarks.
Program Director, Chief Director Zimasa Velaphi, who is in charge of our marketing and communications in the department, Your Excellencies, ambassadors and high commissioners that are present here, recognizing the ambassador of Colombia, of Cameroon, of Kenya, Cote d'Ivoire, and all the others that might have come in when the program had started. Your Excellencies, we appreciate that you were able to come. Head of the Department, Baba Chabalala, Head of the Department of Sport, Recreation, Arts and Culture. That is what your department is. He is the head of department that is fresh from the box. And we do appreciate that there is now stability in this province and be able to work with you going forward. Dr. Angela Martins, Director of Social Development and Culture, African Union Commission. Professor Sipho Mantula, the chairperson of our Social Cohesion Advocates. Members of the Africa Month Reference Group present here, distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Dumelang, Sanbona, good morning, Huyemore, Absheni. Should I stop there? I'll stop for your sake, I could have gone on. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to be here amongst you this morning as we launch the Africa Month program, which is a Pan-African program that celebrates the work that great people of this continent have done to lift themselves out of poverty, conflicts, and social injustices as we march towards everlasting peace and social progress. Program Director, I think it is important that I do apologize on behalf of the Minister and Deputy Minister who would have loved to be here, ambassadors. However, you are aware that there are a lot of activities that are taking place in our country, especially this month of May. We will be having our national elections as a country for the 7th time. So they would have loved to be here, but we are all being pulled in different directions. But they in no way undermine the importance of this launch. So they said it should go ahead, and we appreciate that you are here. I'm sure no one in this audience is still wondering why we are here, why we are launching the Africa Month in this beautiful place. Several of the speakers that have come up before me have spoken to that, and it was very able, explained by everyone, Dr. Bukaba, HOD, and others, the importance of the this is Afrikaans, ne? So it will be Waaihoek, HOD. Wesleyan Methodist Mission Church, which is a historic church, as has been explained. I'm not going to repeat that. The Africa Month program, as has again been mentioned by the other speakers, is a 10th edition, and it is implemented as South Africa celebrates 30 years of democracy. And this celebration, Your Excellencies, of 30 years of our South African democracy is going to be a year-long program We started now in April, but we intend to be celebrating in different forms. During the month of June, we will be celebrating the month that is dedicated to young people using sport. And that is how we have structured the celebration of 30 years during the June month. We have a concept around the Women's Month in August, a concept around the Heritage Month in September, and it goes on until the end of March, which is part of the financial year. So we will be celebrating, but also reflecting on the progress that government has made in improving the lives of the South African population since 1994. Program Director has mentioned the fact that we are in no way ignoring the fact that there's been challenges, and there are areas where we still need to work very hard and improve the lives of our people. But we believe that 30 years is worth celebrating. We also all hopefully aware that on the 10th of May 1994, President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela addressed the nation and the world on the occasion of his inauguration at the Union Buildings in Pretoria. Our former President Mandela's inauguration speech was important to both its symbolism and content. The 30-year celebration project is aimed at creating platforms for South African, particularly for us as this department, in the area of sport, arts and culture, those particular sectors that we are given a mandate to service. So as we celebrate and we showcase their achievements and milestones of democracy, we will be looking at this, Your Excellencies, HOD, and other fellow partners and stakeholders. We will be looking at this against the set priorities. How far have we gone? Against the commitments that we have made as government and other obligations of government. As the program director has said, in the NDP 2030, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and the African Union Agenda 2063. The sport, arts and culture obligations and commitment, as articulated in the national and international frameworks, we believe has provided a solid foundation for South Africa to advance as a democratic state grounded in the principles of human dignity, equality, human rights and freedoms, non-racialism, non-sexism, the supremacy of the Constitution and the rule of law, democracy, social justice, equity, and respect. I want to very briefly outline the objectives, Program Director, of the Department Sport and Arts and Culture 30-year celebration of democracy program. For the 12 months that we are going to be celebrating, what we want to do is to remember the history of apartheid, the struggle in South Africa, and celebrate the successes, because we believe they are successes, of South Africans over the decades, reaffirming the country's commitment to strive for a society that is free of all forms of inequalities, segregation, prejudice, poverty, and discrimination. Program Director, when we speak to our young kids, my youngest is 29 years old, or will be 29 years old on Saturday. When we speak to them about what used to happen, the level of discrimination that we used to experience, particularly as Black people in this country, they can hardly believe it. Hence, when we talk about celebrating, despite the fact that as a country and this new democracy, we are struggling with some of the societal challenges and economic challenges, But looking at where we come from, we believe this is worth celebrating. One of the other objectives is to establish platforms that will continue to document South Africa's evolving history, educate the younger generation, and I'm glad that there are younger people here, about the country's struggle history, and honor and celebrate the living struggle icons. This is what our president about a week ago was doing. This aims to raise awareness about the role played by the South Africans from diverse backgrounds and the international community in dismantling colonial and apartheid rule. Additionally, it seeks to celebrate South Africans who have achieved breakthroughs in all spheres of life, both in the world stage and the continent. But we also want to take stock of progress made, acknowledge ongoing challenges, as I've said, and realign and reposition the sustainability of democracy and freedom. We want to reinforce the importance of all gender and races to take their places for South Africa to progress and develop, and to also emphasize that society cannot be free until its women, its girls, and persons with disabilities, as Professor Mantula was saying, are free from discrimination, oppression, and inequality. Last but not least, we want to rejuvenate South Africa's commitment to strive for a society that is free of all forms of discrimination, racism, patriarchy, segregation, and inequalities, to unite South Africans behind national interests. Program Director, Your Excellencies, HOD, it is therefore important that we gather like this with our African country sisters and brothers that are here and look at the contribution to joint efforts for decolonization and regeneration of the African continent. I am not going to go through the list of what this is actually aimed to achieve. I think colleagues that spoke before me have touched on that. However, it is important for us to indicate that the Africa Month program is further regarded as a platform to promote the AU institution and its programs towards the attainment of its vision. And what is that vision? It is an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa that is driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global arena. Program Director, we as the sector are equally concerned about the conflicts, as again Professor Mantula was saying, that are taking place in the different parts of the world, which threatens the development and destabilizes the livelihood and deepen global tensions. But the question is, what role can sport, arts, and culture play in conflict resolution? There is a need for an honest and robust dialogue around the role that sport, arts, and culture can play in this. We want to indicate that there are a number of activities that have been planned for the Africa Month. I am not going to again go through each and every one of them. There are about 58 cultural activities that are going to be taking place, ranging from exhibitions, performances, colloquia, roundtable discussions, film screening, and culinary demonstration. We do hope, Your Excellencies, you will join us on the 25th of May as we celebrate the Africa Day in Soweto. That is where we are taking this, amongst the people in Soweto. Further communication would be made available to you in terms of the details. It is important, HOD, that I also indicate that we also have funded about 25 projects throughout the country, which are going to be carrying forward and continuing with the message around the 30 years, and particularly during the Africa Month. One of them, HOD, will be happening right here in the Free State at the Afrikaans Art Museum on the 11th of May, this Saturday, titled Eyes on Africa. I want to conclude and go towards my conclusion, Program Director, but I think it will be amiss of us as the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture if we do not address the importance of our national symbols. The role that our national symbols play in as far as issues of social cohesion, nation buildings, and other such objectives that we want to achieve. It is therefore important, I think, particularly because we have got young people amongst us. When we sing the national anthem, we do so with a sign of respect, because as a country we are praying through the national anthem. But it is also important that I just, as someone who's coming from the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, tasked with the responsibility of making sure we understand the importance of our national symbols, address what recently happened. If you look at our flag, it's there amongst those flags, there at the break. There is green, which is considered to symbolize the fertility of the land. There is black, that symbolizes the African community, young people. There is gold, that represents the mineral wealth of the country. There is blue, that represents the endless possibilities to South Africans, just mentioning some of the colors in that flag. Therefore, if you burn that flag, you are, in other words, burning the fertility of this land. Symbolically speaking, you are burning the African community. You are burning the mineral wealth of this country. You are burning the endless possibilities for South Africans. When we say the blue sky is the limit, that is what you are burning if you are burning the national flag. It is our responsibility. As some of you might have seen the statement issued by our minister, we're not being political when we do that, but we are emphasizing the symbols of the democracy of this country. Program Director, Africa Month, 30 years of democracy, this is our story. The story of a continent that is transforming itself. And it is the one that we need to embrace, protect, and work together to transmit. I therefore invite you to work with us, partners, stakeholders, your excellencies, and everyone else in our communities, because we all have a role to play to build a better Africa and a better world. With these words, I declare 2024 Africa Month program officially launched. Asante sana.
Ningo Tuki, when I call on my ADG owes me. She said she can see now. I should have asked her. But we're not going to do it today. Thank you very much for the speech. It is really inspiring. And I hope that it's educational, and especially to the young kids. When the acting DG was talking about the colors of the South African flag, because I'm looking at the flags, and I realized that most of the African flags have the similar colors. So Africa is a continent that is open to endless possibilities. And we have people that can actually realize those possibilities. So we're calling on ourselves to make sure that nobody bans our endless possibilities. Because if we do that, what are we saying to our children? Bantwana bam, one of the things that I would like you to do, when I was growing up, we used to have notebooks, a black notebook, you know, the counter book, we used to call it Ikwaya Ntonton, ne? And we used to write all the lyrics of the songs. Umamela, you will sit next to the radio, and umamele Michael Jackson. And some of the words we did not know because English was not our mother. But we will write something, and we will sing with certainty that Michael Jackson said, "Mehlwe mbuzi." And when you go there, Michael Jackson does not know our languages. But I want you guys to then start keeping these notebooks to record anything that you are being taught. Because one day you need to go back to that notebook and say, go 2024, I was at an Africa Month launch. What was said, Kanene, about the AU? What was said about the NDP? What was said about the Agenda 2063? And you would have them in your notebook. For me, before I call the next speaker, Africa Month is saying we must be proud of our indigenous languages. As parents, we are at fault. My child goes to a private school, and the next thing, I want to be Queen Elizabeth and speak English through my nose. Meanwhile, the same child is going to say to me, "Mama, it's not called a bowl, it's a bowl." And then in my mind, I'm thinking, if I was talking to my child ngesiXhosa, we would not have those discussions, but it's not a bowl, it's a bowl. Because isitya sisitya, and that's what it is. So bantwana bam, I urge you that yes, go to these schools because we need to empower you. But your language is the most important thing. I was telling someone, one of the reference group members, that my children don't understand. We watch TV, and every now and again we'll go to the DSTV channel and watch the news, 404, 403. But comes 7:30 every day in the evenings, we switch to SABC 1. Indaba, ngesiZulu kanye ngesiXhosa. And they asked me, said, "But Mama, you've been watching 404, what's different? Zindaba." And I'm like, but they're in my language. And they say something different than they are saying it in English. So bantwana bam, kiyanikupa hle to turn yourself to buwa isisuthu, to bula. It is not a disgrace to speak your mother tongue. It actually empowers you, because then you are at a disadvantage. You are at an advantage where you can say something and someone does not understand. And by doing that, you will get their attention, because they're going to want to know what is it that you were saying, because they did not understand you. And in that moment, you've got their attention, you speak English. So it is a weapon that is in our hands, our mother tongue languages. Ndiyanicela kakhulu, hayi kakubi. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you look at the back, there are exhibitors there. They are exhibiting books, they are exhibiting paintings, there's a whole lot. And I've actually bought a book because I've got grandkids. And there's a book, it's a kid's book, ngesiXhosa. And I said, please keep it for me, I'm buying the book. And whilst I was walking around, I saw another book that is talking about ngesiduko. Now, ngesiZulu isiduko sisithakazelo, and I all know, all of us have got clan names. And I said, I want that book. Why do I want that book? That book is going to teach me about my history. I don't we think that we know because yasazi isiduko sakho and you can say it, but you don't know the history behind that. So please do go visit them and spend money. Remember, we need to make sure that they are empowered and they also make money. This is their living, and it's their bread and butter issues. So let's please go and support them. We are going to call, before Sibize, Miss Khosa Utinyiko, I've got i-poet uSikhobo Mushe, uzazosenzela i-poem apha, and then after uSikhobo, I'm now pulling out of the bag. We're going to have DRC to come and give us another item. Thank you.
Ke mohlakwana ke motho a pholwadi sema maila ngwathelwa ke motho a sa ding sengwathwana sa maobane ke motho a jang polokwe e kaofela goba ke mogolo go thwa maruma sekgobo ha mo she ke mopaki wa ditaba ke mosekolla sekolla taba di thata ke bohale ba kwebe sekgobo ha mo she phama se ke tsepa sebakeng ho makwala ke masia na mahloka lebelo ya senang se ka ja che ke re mmaya tele ke khometse panong ke mofu ya dipanololoi ha o ka dipanolla o ka fosa mabitla bana ba ka tlola mehlala ba la diphuana goba ke sekgobo a puile wa sekgobo nyano a maholo a ga magolwane a moshe ke sekgobo wa ha moshe ke ota ne ke dumedisa fela le phetse na ne ke sa etse thothokiso ne ke dumedisa fela ha ke utlwe medidi e tsane e re ke re Africa papama o pheta di etsahala nalane etso se ba robetseng boroko thichalala a toron tsa bona ba jerema semelaka a kubutsa phoko tlangwe dikelello tlangwe mano a rantshi ke lefela Africa papama o boneng penya ha o imme gauta o imeta managana sa moruo le sandi pola yana o khalana ditshiu tsa borantsho diphisola sa dikokobele belela mmasetšhaba mohasula ha nyantsha borantsho nyekenywa melala Africa papama ke sekgobo wa ha moshe ke o taba Congo, Jarasi.
masango nemirimba imungu nerurambo ikiriba neruningu ilunyange luberizi ilubunge katogota ilunyango negwesho ikatwenge nebulaga
Kata kiuno, kata kiuno, kata kiuno. Kongo, 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 Kongo. Kata kiuno, kata kiuno. Kata kiuno, kata kiuno, kata kiuno, kata kiuno, kata kiuno. Kata kiuno, kata kiuno. Kata kiuno, kata kiuno, kata kiuno. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Halala DRC, halala. Halala. Bloemfontein, halala. Thank you very much. Can I ask for a huge favor? We are requested by SABC if you could just tone down the volume because they want to take a live interview with the acting DG, and then we'll come back and do the vote of thanks, if you don't mind. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being generous with your time and allow Dr. Kumalo and SABC to do the interview. We really appreciate it. Now we're going to continue with the program. Ms. Tinyiko Kosa, the Chief Director, International Relations from the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture in Pretoria, come and do the vote of thanks for us.
Grand Rising Africa, Papama Africa, Papama Africa. I'm here to just thank all of you for joining hands with us to officially launch Africa Month. To our program director, thank you very much, my big sister, for driving this ship. You have really assisted us to manage our time. We are well within time. Thank you very much for that. I would also like to appreciate the presence of our ambassadors and High Commissioner here. Their presence is just an affirmation that as South Africa, we are not alone. We still have our sister countries, our friends, who are still holding our hands. We really appreciate that so much. To the leadership of the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture at national and provincial level, thank you very much for ensuring that Africa Month, Africa Day celebration becomes a reality. It was an idea, but today we can actually see it in real time. Thank you very much. To all the members of the reference group, we really appreciate your guidance. Continue to guide us. Continue to help us see the future. Africa Month should continue. Africa Day should continue. To all our social partners that provided the message of support, we have heard you. We truly appreciate you. We have taken a lot out of what you have said here, and thank you very much for that. To all the cultural groups that gave us beautiful performance, thank you very much. I have noticed that there's something common across Africa, especially among African women. Our waist is not in vain. I was like, hey, I should have brought my shibelani, man. I've seen a lot of, Shitsonga moves. Thank you very much. That shows that there's only one Africa. And that's a sign of unity. It shows that we are one nation. Also to all the Africans residing in Free State, thank you very much. Your presence means a lot. Actually, you are our guest today. Africa Month is for you. We are just a vehicle that is making sure that Africa Month becomes a reality. Thank you very much for blessing this occasion. It is now open. The celebration for Africa Month does not end here. We are celebrating Africa Month until next year, around March. There will be the real celebration, but we must remember every day is Africa Day. To all our service providers, thank you very much for the services you have provided. The place is beautiful. I can already see that we are going to, So thank you very much for your hard work. To the DSEC team, you have worked tirelessly to make sure that this event becomes a reality. We would like to also extend our gratitude. You have set the bar very high. We are actually looking forward for other events that are still to come. I would also like to thank myself for gathering the courage to come and stand here, and thank you. So thank you very much, Tinyiko. This is my birthday month. I won't run short of celebrations. Yeah, so I'm very grateful for that full calendar that we have for the 30-year celebration of democracy, Africa Month. Thank you very much. Thank you, Program Director. My job ends here. Thank you.
I've given you a taste of what I can do when it comes to singing, Tinyiko. So for your birthday, I can send you an invoice already. And if I can just put the colleagues in on a secret, I'm also charging. Acting DG is going to sing for us, but it's going to be a private session. Acting DG, if you could please take your guests to go through the exhibition so that they can see what is being exhibited and that is of interest. But us, can we just sit here and enjoy because there's entertainment coming? Sizawudlala namapiano, practice. So ndi ready. But for now, ndizawubiza igroup ekuthiwa yiNtsiki Nzume Band. Bathe hayi shem. Nizawuhlala phandle. They are going to lift the roof. And Tsiki Band can come through and entertain us. Acting DG, please do take your guests through the exhibition. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you there? Are you still there? Happy Africa Month, Happy Africa Month. Happy Africa Month, Happy Africa Month.
Uzayithetha lento ubuyithethe Molweni, Dumelang, Abusheni, and hello. I hope you will enjoy this performance. It's just a little rendition. Aibo, Masambe. Waladela umtomnyama, waladela Afrika, wamemeza umtomnyama, wamemeza esemasweni, selekhuluma isilungu ngokuhlala emazweni, akasafuni nokubuya ekhaya. Kanibhalele incwadi nimiseni ngoba sesiyamdinga emazweni walahle emazweni walahle emazweni walahle emazweni walahle. Saphele isizwe sakithi, saphele isizwe simnyama, baphele ubuntu bakithi, khapha kwenze njani na? Saphele isizwe sakithi, saphele isizwe simnyama, baphele ubuntu bakithi, khapha kwenze njani na? Kabuye, buti wami, kabuye, sisi wami, kabuye, tata wami, kabuye, mama wami, maya, siyatinga, ay, sihamba emazweni thina, sihamba emazweni thina, sibuye salahle, sihamba emazweni thina, sibuye salahle, sihamba emazweni thina, sibuye walahle, sihamba emazweni thina, sibuye walahle, buya bhuti wami, buya sisi wami, buya tata wami, buya walahle, emazweni walahle, emazweni walahle, emazweni walahle, emazweni walahle. Aibo. Bana beso re sokodiswa ke di-mic mona fela re a e kganna koloi ena. Pina e latelang is by the late Busi Mhlongo. mme ke labalabelang hore ka tsatsi le leng ka tshwana le yena. Sound. Re kopa medidi e tlang. Re kopa medidi e tlang. Nibongbekela bo. Nibongcinela bo. Nibongbekela bo. Let's have a hand. Okay, let's go.
Ungukamata, ungumvelingangi, ungukamata, ungumvelingangi, ungukamata, ungumvelingangi, ungukamata, ungumvelingangi. Abesisho abathala abenxenxeza becela kuwe becela impendulo oba womkhulu naye unongqawuso benxenxeza becela kuwe becela impendulo becela imvula imfuyo impilo noxolo ngoba nguwe uqamatho phezulu qamata hey ungumvelingangi unguqamata ungumvelingangi Kamata, Peleli, Ungo Velingangi, Peleli, Ungo Kamata, Ungo Velingangi.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kurabeti Milamu. Kalani pokwe, kalani ngomo, kalani kuku, kalani ngomo, nisosebo ke. Yama, ibiseni, abathala basivulele indlela, becela kuwe, uqamatho phezulu. Kalani pokwe, kalani ngomo, kalani kuku, kalani ngomo, nisosebo ke. One last song. This one, my guest Pakamento City. We are going to do part to part. Come on, sing along, dance along, do everything with us. nazi when he pata pata. Ay, yo mama, yo mama. Tata nazi when he pata pata. Hello, uga sepenoga. Hello, uga sepenoga. Hello, uga sepenoga. Hello, uga sepenoga. Ay, yo mama, yo mama. Tata nazi when he pata pata. Ay, yo mama, yo mama. Tata nazi when he pata pata. Come on, let's do it. Touch, ibata pata. Come on, let's do it. Touch, ibata pata. Come on, yeah. Come on, let's do it. Touch, ibata pata. Come on, let's do it. Touch, ibata pata. Ibata pata, let's do it. Touch, ibata pata. Come on, let's do it. Touch, ibata pata. Siakuga, Nancy pata pata. Siakuga, ay, siakuga, Nancy pata. Ay, siakuga, ay, mama, Nancy pata. Nancy when he pata pata. Ay, mama, Nancy pata. Nancy when he pata pata. Come on, let's do it. Touch, ibata pata. Come on, let's do it. Touch, ibata pata. Come on, pata pata. Ibata pata. Ibata pata. Come on, let's do it. Ibata pata. Touch, ibata pata. Come on.